Hey guys, and welcome back to Mangotology. If you're new here, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, please make sure to go down below, hit that red subscribe button, as well as turn on your post notifications by tapping on the bell so you get an alert whenever I release a new video on Scientology. Now for today's video, we're going to be talking about the false imprisonment that just happened at Scientology's Celebrity Center. This is a report of someone who went to the LAPD only in the last few months and reported how she was held against her will at Celebrity Center. This was someone who ended up joining the Sea organization and was trying to leave, and we're going to be reading to you guys their police report, and I'm going to show that to you guys, and then we're going to comment on it. So without further ado, let's get right on into the police report, and then I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, a little bit of my personal stories with imprisonment at Celebrity Center, and give you my final thoughts. So let's get right on into that police report. So the type of report is false imprisonment, and it says, source of activity. On July 3rd, 2019, at approximately 0930 hours, Officer Shaldigan, number 38710, was assigned to Hollywood Division front desk. I was wearing full uniform. I was approached by, insert name here, requesting a false imprisonment report. Investigation. Victim moved to Los Angeles from Nevada on February 7th, 2019, and was looking for employment and a place to live. Victim came across an ad that offered an acting seminar at the Celebrity Center of the Church of Scientology. On February 27, 2019, Victim attended the seminar at the Celebrity Center hosted by Jason Dohring. Victim felt that the employment offered by the Church of Scientology, the living conditions, and some values were common to her own. On March 7, 2019, Blank joined the Church of Scientology and began her training. While in her training on March 21, 2019, Blank wanted to leave the facility permanently. Blank had packed her belongings into her vehicle and was driving out of the parking lot of the Sunset location on Sunset and L. Ron Hubbard when a security guard rode his bicycle in front of her vehicle and advised her that she could not leave the facility and that administrators needed to speak with her. She was advised that it was not a good idea to just leave and that she needs to sign paperwork to leave the facility. Blank does not remember the security guard's name, but at the time, her recruiters, Joey Colwin and Gio Enriquez, responded to her location and asked her to leave the facility and go with them to the Celebrity Center and sign the documents there. Blank left with them and was convinced that things would get better for her and that she should hang in there just a little bit longer. Blank graduated her training on April 15, 2019 and transferred to the Celebrity Center on April 22, 2019 as her work and permanent residence. On June 14, 2019, Blank decided to leave again and went to the Human Resources office, crying, and spoke with Nimrod Roth to advise her of her decision. Roth advised that she cannot just leave the facility and there is a process to follow. Roth stood in the doorway and pointed to a different office and stated, "You need to go in there with me to start the process." Once in the office, Roth told Blank that he needs to place her on the E-meter, which Blank describes as a device as Church of Scientology's own lie detector test. Roth explained to Blank that he needs to ask her questions, and this is done to those who want to leave suddenly. While holding metal handles of the device, Roth began to ask questions such as, "Did you steal any confidential information? Is there something about yourself you did not disclose? You told us you're not married. Are you married? Are you involved with someone outside of Scientology? When you went to visit your mother, did you do anything other than visit your mother that you didn't tell us?" Blank stated that she felt as if she was being interrogated and the questions were intrusive. At the end of the interrogation, Roth told Blank that they did not want her to leave and that they were going to fix all the issues to make her feel more comfortable at the facility. To end the conversation with Roth and to move on, Blank decided to agree with Roth and to play along just to stop the interrogation. Blank also decided that the next time she wants to leave, she will not tell anyone about wanting to leave. That next time she was just going to make up a reason to leave and not come back. On June 15, 2019, Blank notified the staff that she was going to the store. As she was attempting to drive out of the parking lot, she was stopped by Human Resource members Edith Salamka and Security Officer Richardson and told that she could not leave the facility and needed to take care of some handlings. Blank was taken to the Human Resources office and forced to read references that stated her obligations and responsibility was to the group and not to herself. The reading material also included information about people that want to leave suddenly, explain that they have done something negative. Blank was placed on condition of doubt, which made her ineligible to leave the facility until the condition was removed. In order for the condition to be lifted, Blank was required to read more references and to ask 8 different human resource members for their permission to rejoin the organization. On the evening of June 16, 2019, she was granted and the condition was removed. On June 20th, 2019, at approximately 0700 hours, Blank decided to walk to go get coffee, just to see if they will allow her to leave the facility. Since she could leave, Blank returned to the facility, in mind to leave again, but this time with some belongings in her vehicle. She had been told that it has been in her best interest for her to park her vehicle on the street. Once she returned, she used the excuse to move her vehicle outside of the facility and parked it on the loading zone area to have a reason to get out and repark the vehicle. Blank was attempting to be nonchalant. She retrieved her laptop and purse, went out, got inside her vehicle, and drove off to never return. So I know that is a lot to take in, so let's just jump right on into it. So at the beginning, the victim went to an acting workshop at Celebrity Center that was hosted by the actor Jason Dohring. Here's an example of a flyer for a Jason Dohring workshop at the Celebrity Center in Hollywood. This is exactly what happened to me, only I went to one with the actor Gino Montesinos, who's like a working actor, and Jason Dohring is probably a more successful actor, but they use different celebrities who either A, volunteer to give the workshops, B, sometimes they're doing it as an ethics condition and they have to host the workshop because they're in lower conditions, or sometimes they're in ethics trouble and they have to host those workshops as a way to get into better standing with Scientology, so to speak, or just in general, Scientology asks these actors to host these workshops because part of being a Scientologist is bringing in more Scientologists and disseminating and clearing the planet. We only have this one lifetime to be able to accomplish our goal. So I know that Scientology uses these actors, sometimes even they're being punished to do these different workshops, but using them to try to deceive people to where she probably thought, hey, this is an opportunity to learn how to be an actress, and Scientology knows that they can get people who are in these vulnerable positions in their life. They might not have a job, money, whatever, and then they somehow end up into the C organization. So I know that Scientology has a specific process that they follow with this. It's not a surprise that, you know, they recruited her at the end of the workshop, just like how it's always been. So Scientology kind of can't claim that these workshops are anything but a recruitment process for Scientology. So she went to the workshop probably looking to better her life, came to Hollywood or came to the Celebrity Center, and anyone at that point in time is in the beginning of their career. No established actors going there for real help in their acting career. Scientology knows people are vulnerable, they're weak, they're looking for answers, and when you have a working actor sitting in front of you that says Scientology helped me, that's what I think probably roped her into staying at Scientology. Now, she said that they offered other employment opportunities. Maybe at the point they said, hey, you know, you can live and work here, you can be around these other actors and celebrities, and you're gonna better your life, and you're gonna be able to be in an on-purpose group. You can be just living a normal life in the real world, and you could have worry about bills, and you're gonna have to worry about holding a job and worrying about housing and all these different outside world things. Like, you're not truly on purpose. The way to truly be on purpose is to be a Scientologist. If you live and work and you join the Sea Org and you're part of our group and our mission, then you're 100% focusing on betterment of yourself and other people, and that's how you're going to be able to spiritually advance so much faster than if you're in the real world. So something like that could also be a positive thing for some people, and she joined the Sea organization. Then the victim talks about her 2 Sea Org recruiters. One of them she mentions is a guy by the name of Joey. I actually have emails from Joey when he would try to recruit me into the Sea Org. This email from May 23rd, 2013 says, Dear Steven, you ready to help us clear the planet from the Sea Org? We need you and the time is now. Best, Joey Collowin. So I just thought it was interesting that he's still recruiting for Sea Org at Scientology. And at the time when the victim wanted to leave and she's trying to be like, hey, like, I'm trying to go, they say, no, like, hang in there a little bit longer. there's a process to follow. Now, I wasn't in the Sea Org, so I can't speak on this part specifically, but I just know that there's a process to route out of the Sea Org, and you have to go and get sec checked. You have to actually follow a whole routing form. They make it as difficult as possible to leave because they want you to stay on post as long as they can milk it for you, or else you're going to be declared a suppressive person. You're going to get kicked out of Scientology, and people will be like, yeah, well, why wouldn't you risk that at that point if you want to leave? Well, you might have family and you might have friends. If you were willing to join the Sea Org, guys, think of it from this perspective. If you wanted to join in the first place, you believe Scientology is the greatest thing for humanity. So if you're going to get risk of a declare and being seen as a suppressive person, that is like the biggest knife in the heart. You know, that's the biggest, most defeating thing in the world. Like, you're going to lose every single thing you have. And if you really truly think going up the bridge and receiving auditing is spiritually enlightening, and you're being threatened that you can never do it again, most people are going to take the decision to route out and try to stay in good standing, because why would you want to be seen as a suppressive person unless it really came to that point? Because you're still brainwashed. Even if you can see things are bad, like even in my perspective, I knew things were bad, but I couldn't leave from being in the mental mind trap games that Scientology is spiritually freeing me. And I believed that, you know, I needed to go up the bridge, and I had to continue to work to be an auditor, and that was like my purpose. And even to this day, you know, I still wonder, like, spiritually, like, what is life? Like, what is all of this that we're living in, you know? And I always have questions, and I always felt I was a spiritual person, and Scientology gave me a spiritually enlightening path. I so thought that as long as I follow these steps, I could achieve that spiritual enlightenment. So I think a lot of people just try to route out, and they try to listen, like, hang in there a little bit longer. Once you're trained, once you're on post, and once you figure things out, you're going to be happier. And I think that they were trying to manipulate her to stay. Later on, of course, she experienced, you know, when you leave the base, you're going to have to leave the base with another person. They always monitor your, like, where you're going in and out of the org and around. You're always kept a very close eye on, and they know that people try to blow. And the way that she escaped was by having her car that she needed to repark, which not a lot of Sea Org members have cars. So she was lucky, for whatever reason, that she had access to a vehicle, and she ended up escaping and filing this police report with the LAPD. Now, I also want you guys to realize too that if you do route out, at the end of the routing out process, just like Debbie Cook and some other big executives, why they've, you know, tried to go after Debbie Cook, and that was an epic fail, was because they want them to sign legal agreements that they're never going to speak out about Scientology. They're going to keep everything confidential, that everything was great in the Sea Org, and make them film a video possibly about how everything was amazing, so that person is less credible in their eyes if they try to speak out, and they actually have some legal standing to have a non-disclosure agreement and all of that sort of stuff signed before the person leaves the Sea organization. They want to interrogate the person on the e-meter. They want to find out what their crimes are. You know, have they stolen any confidential information? So Scientology, again, is using Scientology's techniques to try to manipulate the person to go on this routing out form that, from my understanding, the routing out process is to try to get you back in by trying to figure out, like, do you have an ARC break? Is there a misunderstood word? Did you hear about something bad? Did you commit a crime against the organization? And try to manipulate you to go back into the group and say, hey, you know, I have this purpose, and, you know, if I'm out in the real world, they're going to brainwash the person and tell them that the real world has all these dangerous psychopathic people, and they're all drug addicted on psychiatric pills, and all these drug-ridden people are just taking down our society. And, you know, obviously the big thing is drugs, drugs, drugs. Like, everyone is heavily on drugs, and people in the outside world are all hypnotized. They all have this engram that controls them and holds them back from their true potential. Everyone's just kind of like these hypnotized zombies in the real world, and they're not actually doing anything to enlighten themselves. And you get to a place where you're like, well, maybe, you know, Scientology is the only answer, and I'm having to rough it out, but it's better to rough it out here in the Sea Org and eat rice and beans and be on punishment for the ideas and the thoughts of leaving. Again, everything's like very mind controlling, obviously. it's a mind control brainwashing cult. But, you know, in that mindset, you're like, well, I'd rather be punished for the thoughts of leaving and have to like get into good standing with the group and stay in the Sea Org than go out into the real world when you have no money, you have no job, no living space, anything. You have nothing. You leave with the shirt on your back probably and maybe like $50, $100, I'm assuming, because, you know, if you're making $20 to $50 a week, you're not saving much of that when you need to buy toiletries or you need to buy food or anything like that. So they basically leave with absolutely nothing. Now there's like the Aftermath Foundation. Now there's other groups and places out there that help people who have left Scientology, and I think that now there's more people who know what goes on and there's more people that are willing to help, but you don't know that if you've been in the Sea Org. You don't have internet, you don't have phone, you don't have a way to find out about these different resources and stuff like that. And in my experience, you know, at Celebrity Center, again, I got in through one of these acting workshops. I never thought years later, like I got in 2009, I would have never, I'm looking at you guys and telling you, I would have never imagined I'd be sitting here with you guys 10 years later thinking that I would be like this ex-Scientology activist, or I would have even been involved more than like a day or 2 days, you know, doing these acting workshops. I honestly thought I would be in there doing a workshop for like a couple hours and then I would learn some things and go off and apply that in my life. When I signed up for the book course, I thought that's 2 weeks, they said, to do the book course, and I would learn how to handle the reactive mind. I didn't know there was a whole bridge. I didn't know that there's a million books. I didn't know about who L. Ron Hubbard was. I didn't know any of that. And I would have never thought that. It's just crazy to me 10 years down the road that, you know, I'm still unraveling the mind control that I was placed under and trying to figure out, like, what did I actually go through? And it's just been a really wild journey and experience for me. And I'm also just so lucky to have you guys, you know, who've been on this journey with me. And it's been crazy. But again, I thought I was just taking an acting workshop. This woman was manipulated to join the whole entire Sea Org and fleeing and escaping. And, you know, I don't know how they think that just because they're a religion, and this goes back to the lawsuit that Valerie Haney is filing, just because you're a religious group, it doesn't mean, like her attorneys and other people were saying, it doesn't mean that you can harm people. There's no religious liberty or protection to harm people, hold them against their will, to bankrupt them. Like, there's no protection that's like, just because you're a religion means you can go and beat someone to the pulp. Like, there's nothing that allows you to be able to do that just because you're a religion or you have tax exemptions. So I know that Scientology, soon enough, when more lawsuits come out and more people are alleging these different crimes against Scientology, they're going to have to account to this. And I know that, you know, the more people that make police reports and speak out about these experiences, the better, so that one day maybe Scientology could get taken down because enough people have reported, and not just letting Scientology say, do a routing form and we're never going to let you speak out again. You're going to be silenced, and this is the last that you'll ever say the word Scientology again is in this room. And they scare people, and then they're never willing to go to law enforcement, because in Scientology, law enforcement isn't an option. If you have an issue with another Scientologist, you go through Scientology's justice procedures. There's a whole specific court system in Scientology. You don't sue another Scientologist or anything. You don't call the police if something goes wrong. You go to ethics. And there's a whole process for that. And I just think that with, you know, this person willing to go to the police, it is saying, like, there is a chance maybe in the future that more people have the courage to do that. So, like, for me, I would be in rooms at Celebrity Center for hours and hours and hours, like 15 hours, you know, and they would bring me like water, or like they'd bring me stuff to be able to continue on these long ending regging cycles where they would try to get my credit card number. They tried to open up things with my social security number, and I would say no, and it would just go on and on and on. And same thing with SEWA recruitment cycles. They would go on for hours and hours and hours, and I wouldn't be able to go. And again, that would be on a more mild spectrum, because it's not like I was held there for months or weeks or years or something like that. But it's still like, when you want to not be somewhere and you're being told you can't leave, it is a very scary thing. And you would think, well, why would you ever go back? You're a public person, you have your own life. Well, you're thinking that they're doing it for the betterment of society and for yourself. They would tell me, like, it's your own reactive mind that doesn't want you to say, sign up for this course and pay $25,000, right? It's your own reactive mind. And we're clear, or we're higher beings, essentially, and trying to make this more, just not using Scientology lingo, but basically, if they're these more uptone, ethical Sea Org members, and they're more OT than I am as a new public, then they have to help me override, like a computer, the reactive mind, and they're going to be in control of me, and they're going to be the ones to tell me what to do, and I have to be willing to let go and trust that these Scientologists have my best interests at heart. So if they're saying we need $20,000, I need to be like, it's just my reactive mind that doesn't want me to sign up. It's going to cause me so much freedom, and with that level of freedom, there's a lot of barriers and other things in the way of that. So in order to be able to like slay the dragons in my way to get to clear, I'm telling you guys, this is like literally how it would be brought to me at the time. To get to clear, for example, and I'm here only like a new public, for example, there's all going to be these barrier steps. There's going to be like me being, no, like I rather go out drinking with my friends. I rather go to the mall. I rather spend $20,000 on a Mercedes. I rather do this. I rather do that. Instead of being like, hey, like I need to go from A to B to clear. I can't go from here like a ping pong, boom, 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 boom. I'll never make it to clear. So when they would hold me in these rooms, it's like, no, it's like we're like your auditors at this time almost, and we're going to sit you back down in that chair, and we're going to tell you like, this is what we need from you, and this is what we need to do. And if you're not in the Scientology mindset, you're going to be calling the police being like, oh my God, I'm held against my will at Scientology. But for a brainwashed Scientologist, you're like, no, like my own reactive mind is getting in my way, and they're trying to help me. And there's all these manipulating things. So again, if you guys want to see a video on that specifically, I'll happily make one. But you have to realize there's so many layers. This isn't something simple where it's just, a lot of people may watch my videos or seen some of my things and think it's very surface level. Like, you're asking him for $5,000, run for your life. It's like, no, like there's so much more. It's years of indoctrination and brainwashing and courses, and you get to a place where they install, like a computer, they install all this information into your head, and you only look at L. Ron Hubbard for the source of everything. So when you're trying to sway right instead of left or whatever, like there's a policy letter to help you, right? So you're living your life by Scientology, so of course you're going to trust that they have your best interest at heart. And for people to think, oh, maybe they've changed over time, or Scientology doesn't do all those crazy things anymore. It's like, this is clear proof that Scientology still, to this day, holding people against their will. They're still getting people to join the Sea organization. There's a girl's story. I'm going to link it down below. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. She did just like a very simple series on YouTube about like leaving Big Blue. They flew her in for like 3 days, just for like a weekend. And they've done this with elderly, saying like, oh, just come in for the weekend. We're going to fly you in from Michigan or something. They fly them to LA. They might even put them up in a hotel for 2-3 days, and then they extort them for money. For this girl, they flew her into Big Blue, and then they got her to sign a Sea Org contract, and she was there for like 4 to 8 months, and she couldn't leave. And these are stories as of 2019, 18, 17, like very recent things, where now they're so desperate that if you have even a little bit of interest in Scientology and you live in the Midwest and you call up and you say, hey, like Scientology, I'm interested, they'll fly you to LA, and they'll either try to get all of your money, or they're going to try to get you to join the Sea Org and stay for the rest of your life, and it's a one-way ticket, and they get you to join the Sea organization. So I know that Scientology has a lot of new tactics that I want to uncover. I've talked about my experiences, but I want to interview others and have others tell about what's actually going on like right now in Scientology. I actually just did a protesting video with Nasty Nathaniel, who's a First Amendment auditor. I was going to release that today, but there's a lot of protesting footage. I'm going to release that tomorrow, I think, which is Saturday or Sunday, depending on my schedule. But with Nasty Nathaniel, we went and we did a little First Amendment audit, and they would like come out with these like flashlights, like trying to blind us in the eyes with these high-powered flashlights. And I gave a little bit of a speech, and I think it's very interesting when you guys see it, of like the real true state of what Scientology is. And you'll see like this is their tax-exempt dollars going to use. We're giving them this protection to go and like basically harass Nasty Nathaniel and I. So that's coming up soon. But it just really hurts my heart that there's people out there who get manipulated still in these different ways to, you know, maybe like, I just want a little bit of help. Like I want to take a communication course or something. And then they get brainwashed and they get like installed Scientology information over months and months and months. And you could be like me in a room getting regged, which is, I think, the more common story, and that's why I tell my story. It's like it's the more common thing that you might be held against your will for a day or two in a room to get money extorted from you. But yes, there is the extreme where you can be held for like 8 years or 25 years on the ship, Scientology's free ones, and you can't get off because you don't have a passport, and you're brainwashed to believe that's your spiritual salvation. So, you know, I just wanted to really tell you guys about this experience with this woman being held against her will, because it's just like, this is happening down my street, guys. Like not literally down my street, but like within like 5-10 minutes of where I live. You know, this is right where I live. Like people are being held against their will in a religion in 2019 in a free country. And I'm not gonna let them think that they can get away with it. Like, I'm going to talk about it, publicize it as much as I can, and try to help people and warn them of the dangers of what's actually happening. People ask me all the time, can I go in and just take one course? Can I do this or that? It's like, no, unless you want to risk your whole entire life in being a slave to Scientology, either mentally or physically, or both. And that's really what you risk by joining Scientology. So I'm gonna stop rambling, guys. I love you all. I'm sorry I've been gone for a little while. There was YouTube drama on my other channel, but I'm gonna be back here posting weekly videos here on Mangotology. If you're interested in keeping up with more videos exposing Scientology, please make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know all your thoughts about this whole entire situation. Give this video a thumbs up, share it on social media, share it with friends, and let people know about what is really happening in Scientology in 2019. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you all so much. Thank you all for supporting me, watching, and writing me messages and stuff. I've been going through kind of a hard time again, so when I hear from you guys, it really does cheer me up and helps me carry on to expose Scientology and have the strength to do this, because it's not an easy task. Believe it or not, I can come on camera and smile for you guys, but you know, behind the camera, behind the scenes, this is something that does affect my life every single day still, and being on the forefront as an activist is a very heavy responsibility, and it's not an easy task. So if I ever disappear for a few days or a few weeks and stuff, guys, just know sometimes it's, you know, kind of intense doing this type of thing all the time. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.